in response to some of the ladies who wanted to get some ideas for how to flirt. Here comes the video. Here comes the information that you're looking for. I had to give this a little thought because, in the days when I used to rip and run the streets and be in and out of nightclubs and at a lot of parties and events here in the Oakland area, down in San Jose, in LA, and in Washington, D.C., I use my flirting skills a lot more. And one of these things I went to at B. Smith's, as a matter of fact, was a jazz concert, and I was flirting with this guy. It was some foreign guy. I mean, he had a great accent. I didn't even know who he was, but it turned out that he was one of the acts for the night. He played the saxophone. So I'd been like all up in this man's face, grinning at him and talking my smack. And when it's time for him to play, he was playing his song and walked all the way through the crowd over to where I was sitting near the back and was standing right in front of me playing his saxophone song to me. And I was like, oh my God, that was a bit much. I like to talk smack, but I don't want to necessarily be made the center of attention with the spotlight on me in the whole room and all that old stuff. But it was an interesting experience. Another thing I wanted to tell you about, what I want to do is kind of give you some examples of how flirting goes. And I was talking to this guy at Pete's coffee shop, and I asked him, why do you think so many guys get upset at a woman if she flirts with them? And he was like, yeah, well, a lot of guys do seem to follow that, don't speak to me if you don't want to sleep with me philosophy. He said he wasn't like that, but it was an interesting thing to note, because that is true. A lot of guys feel like if you flirt with them, that you owe them the rest of your evening or some shit. But I'll tell you how to deal with that as well. And one thing that had come up was this guy. I like guys with dimples. I like guys with nice, even, well-maintained teeth. And I also like those close-cropped beards. I know the new styles everybody's having, like these ancient Egyptian beards that shoot out from their face. I don't like that. That looks creepy to me. I like the nice little, close-cropped, a little bit more than 5 o'clock shadow type of beards. Or the ones that's what they call it, a goatee over the lips and down around the chin. That will make any man look better, in my opinion. So I recently saw this guy that had all three. He had the dimples, he had the teeth, and he had the beard. And I was like, oh shit, wait a minute. So I went on over there where he was, and I, was looking at him, and I was like, poke me with a fork, because I'm done. And he was just looking kind of confused. He didn't know what to do. And but he did laugh, and so then I said, I really like guys that have nice beards and nice smiles, and you have both. And I just wanted to come over, and give you your props. And so he says thank you, and I was talking to him, and basically, I gave him one of my business cards. He gave me one of his. And we just had a few little chit-chatting moments, but he was smiling it the whole time, and I could tell he really enjoyed the exchange. It was a few minutes of light fun, and then we parted ways. Now, I don't know what his situation was. Maybe he had a girlfriend or whatever, but he didn't ask for my number, and I didn't ask for his. And so, but we did have each other's business cards. So if at any point he should decide, to pick up the phone and be like, remember me, I'm Dimples dude, then I'll know who he is, and, we can proceed from there. But if not, then I still had a good time for that, 10 minutes. Another time I was in this club, this was a long time ago. This club was called Jimmy's, and I know those y'all who live in Oakland knew about Jimmy's. And I'm in there, right, and I see this dude with a mustard yellow suit on, and so I start grinning. Now, he's thinking I'm grinning at him, but I was really grinning at what I was thinking. So he was a very nice looking guy, but that suit was just not working. And they make those cartoons where people have like theme music. Yeah, I kept hearing the Superfly theme song playing in my head. So I'm steady grinning at this guy, right? Because I'm having this whole conversation in my head that's very amusing to me, and he doesn't know what's happening. So it was kind of crazy. So he comes on over, and he asked me my name, and I told him. And then he's like, "Oh, well, you seem very happy tonight." I said, "Oh, yes, I'm quite entertained." And so he's like looking confused because he didn't know what I was talking about. So then he sits down, and I told him, "But I'll let you call me Cookie Monster if you let me call you Big Bird." And then he looked down in his suit and busted out and started laughing. So he asked me to dance. I danced with him one time, but really, I just kept imagining I was on the dance floor with Big Bird, and I was just crying, laughing. You know, I just couldn't. I couldn't. I was like, you, no, I can't do the yellow suit. So those are just two examples of how you can flirt using wit and humor or a compliment. And for women, two of the best ways to get a flirting session going is A, to smile, because men see that as, an invitation, or B, to to use your eyes, to use your glances, brief stares. I wouldn't go so far as to wink, but some women do that. It depends on how you can carry it off. I'm not a winker, but those are the two ways that you have to make contact with a guy that is either a complete stranger or that you kind of went out with a couple of times, and you ready to up the ante and you want to give them some signals. So that's how you do it. Now some people are just naturally flirtatious. They're real easy around the opposite sex. They laugh, and they just tend to, I don't know, they have this aura where they just tend to draw guys in. That is not most women. Most women have to, make a conscious effort to attract that kind of attention from men. And I'm not talking about, being scantily clad or shaking your ass and wearing the tightest, shortest clothes that you can find and all that. See, that's not flirting. And I'm going to talk about that in a few minutes. There's a difference between what flirting is and what other stuff is. But basically, when you flirt, you're sending out three signals to the opposite sex. Anybody who's observing you. Number one, that you're confident, because only the people who are scary are unable to flirt and they really don't speak up and put themselves out there in a way that gets them noticed. Number two, that you're available and the door is open for them to approach. Now, this is very important because most dudes are so terrified of rejection. And that's where flirting can come in. It lets them know that it's safe to talk to you and that they won't get rejected. And then point number three is that you're interested in at least, a few minutes of conversation so that you can know more about what's going on with him. So those are the three things that's flirting signals, and that's how you get stuff off the ground. You don't have to ask him out. You don't have to buy him a drink. You don't have to ask him to dance. Those things are more overt, and what you're going to be doing is using what my grandmother used to call your feminine wiles, which I have no clue what that means, but it's basically you're presenting yourself in a way that is feminine, graceful, and intriguing to this guy. So you got to combine all of those things. Now, the first thing that you should know is where you flirt is very important. The setting is very important. Although it can be pretty much done anywhere, you're going to have a greater level of success. And for those of you who are new at flirting, you can't go into the deep dark trenches yet. You got to go get kind of practice your skills in an area where people are going to be more aware of that's what you're doing, and they're more likely to pick up on it, and they're more likely to be responsive. So those kind of areas might be, if you do online dating sites, singles events, sports clubs, sports bars, nightclubs, restaurant bars. That's one of my favorite kind of things. But that kind of setting where people are intentionally there to mix and mingle with other people, and they're more likely to understand that that's what you're doing is flirting, or trying to get something going in conversationally at least. So what kind of things constitute flirting? Well, flirting basically, if you're a woman, it's going to affirm your femininity and it's going to make a guy feel good about his masculinity. So, your choice in the man of who you flirt with is going to boost not only his ego but yours. It's going to make you both feel more attractive and both of you feel more desirable. And so it's, to me, the flirting is like a win-win. It's if done well, it can make the person that you're like out with or trying to get to go out with feel wanted, to feel like they're special, to feel like they're important, and they'll feel good about themselves when they're around you. And as a woman, that is a key thing to draw a man to you. And I'm not talking about bending over backwards and being, mammy slave submissive stuff. I'm not talking about going that deep with it. I'm talking about just having conversation with you, just looking at you, just interacting with you, even on a very casual level, leaves him feeling good. And that's what you want. If you're interested in a man, that's what you want him to do. It's to feel good about being around you. Then he'll want to be around you even more and more and more. That's how it works. Now, for them guys that have that attitude, that they're owed something if you flirt with them, all of them who are listening to this, you need to get your mind right. Nobody in this world owes you shit. So if some woman has singled you out to flirt with you, you need to be feeling grateful and happy, because that means she's making an effort to give you a signal that she's interested in your donkey ass. So if you read up on it, and she talks to you and stuff. Sometimes that's all it is. I mean, you may tell her, well, I got a woman, or I'm just hanging out with my boys tonight, or I just broke up with somebody, I really don't feel like it, or she's flirting with you but she's not really your type. I mean, there could be a lot of reasons why you don't follow through with it, but the fact that she is flirting with you is still something that is nice. You know what I mean? So enjoy it for what it is, and don't feel like she owes you anything more after the little 5 or 10 minute flirting thing is over. Just be chill. It's just an opportunity. And if you want to take it further, you can. But if not, then it's just a brief, entertaining, kind of fun and light exchange of social banter and some giggles or some shit. And it might lead to more. You might lead to a drink. It might lead to a dance. It might lead to a date. It might lead to a relationship, or it might lead to nothing at all. You have to be okay with that. All right. So that's that part on flirting. Now let's talk about who you flirt with. You can pretty much flirt with anybody. You can flirt with total strangers. You can flirt with people that but maybe you wanna try dating them, but you haven't quite figured out how to make that happen. You can go from just being friends to more if you use the right kind of language and body language and words with them. And you can flirt with looks, you can flirt with words, you can flirt with touching, or any combination of the above. And I'm going to go through those with you in a minute, because I've divided them up by what I call levels. Level 1, 2, and 3 flirting. So in level 1, that's flirting with a complete stranger, or someone you don't really know this person. Maybe you know their name or something like that, but it's not about anybody that you're really that well acquainted with. Again, you're going to rely on the smiling and the eye contact. Those are your two weapons, lady, your two tools. Maybe that's a better word. So first you got to catch a dude's eye. And a lot of dudes are slow. Ooh, they are so slow. The player types, pick up on it right away, but we're usually not interested in them, because you don't need to flirt with them, because they usually be all up in everybody's face. But what you want to do is, you see a nice guy, he's kind of hanging by himself, or where he's got with one friend or something, and he looks cool. He looks a little uneasy, but he's put himself in this environment because he knows he needs to get out if he want to meet somebody. That's the dude that you're looking for, not the one that looks like a barfly. His ass is so comfortable, he's got like his he gonna tell you, oh, this is my spot. He go to the same club entirely too much. You don't want him. So you want the guy who looks slightly ill at ease, a little bit uncomfortable, but like he's trying to have a good time. That's the one you want to pick. And if you like what he looks like, then you catch his eye, and you do that, and you look at him. You got to practice your looks in the mirror, because what you want to express to him is appreciation for what you're looking at. And some guys will even come over and, they had a little line. They go like, you like what you're looking at? And then, you depending upon your answer, how bold you are, you can say, I'm trying to decide. Or maybe. Or you can say, I sure do. Or, it just depends. It depends on what you say and how you say it. And But otherwise, most of them kind of look like a deer in headlights, and they're like, "Oh my God, is she looking at me?" But you want to make it clear that you're looking at him, not just in his direction. So you got to catch him in his eye. Okay, 3 to 5 seconds. Don't do it any longer than that, because then he's gonna start getting uncomfortable and thinking it's like a challenge. You want it to be, where you look at him with a little smile, dead in his eyes, and then you drop your eyes, or you turn your head, or you talk to your friend, and then you turn and you do the same thing. Now, after you do that a couple of times, if he doesn't, come over and try to talk to you, well, he just dumb, or like I said, he may have a girlfriend or be going through something himself, or just not interested. That's fine. Just pick up and just go flirt with somebody else. It's no big deal. And for you who are new to this whole technique, that's really probably best for you, because you need to get used to that first level one contact to learn how to draw the guys over. So the more practice you get, the better you'll get at it, and the more comfortable you'll be with it. So then you can use it in other places, like at the grocery store, and I don't know, wherever else people go. But that's what you want to master. Um, yeah, the looking them in the eye, and then looking away, and then make sure you have a little smile, not a big old showing all your teeth kind of smile, a little, little sexy, shy, half shy kind of smile. He'll know what time it is. Okay, so now you got the level one, you got his attention. Then you move to level two. That's where you start using your words. Now, this is when a lot of women get into trouble, because y'all be just talking, you say the wrong thing. You want to avoid coming across as overtly sexual, okay? This is supposed to be subtle. That's the whole key to flirting, is subtlety. If you cross the line, then you get into a sexual invitation. Okay, well, that's not flirting, and that's not what you want. So what you want to do is, maybe, I don't know, compliment him on his clothes, or his haircut, or his watch, or something. I mean, you want to comment on something that he's wearing or doing or something. And it's not, the words are part of it, and that's fine, but it's not so much what you say, it's how you say it. And so if you tell a man, that he has a beautiful brown eyes, and that twinkle when he smiles, he's gonna be like, well, damn, really? And she kind of cute. Let me talk to her for a minute. Or you tell the guy that you hear talking, and I do this a lot because I'm really into sounds. And some guys just have like the best voices. Oh my God, it's like some of my friends call them panty dropping voices. I don't know if I'd go that far, but whatever. But I mean, these nice, rich, deep, masculine voices where you could just sit there. I mean, well, I could anyway, just sit there and listen to them talk all night, and they could be just mumbling. I don't even care what they're saying. I just want to hear their voice say it. And I like that. And I go up and tell guys that. I've told men that of all races, and they all just smile and just look so excited. And it's an honest compliment. And yeah, that usually works. Something that enhances their vision of themselves as a man. That's what you want to focus on. So it's like, oh, you look like you spend a lot of time in the gym. Do you play sports or what? Something like that. So he's obviously put a lot of work into his physique. So acknowledging that will make him feel like it was worthwhile. And that's all I'm saying. It's just a matter of whatever you're thinking along those lines, ladies. If you're single and you want to kind of meet some dudes, you talking about haven't been getting any dates and stuff, this is one way to do it. This is what I do. It's why I'm always going out with people. I mean, it's only usually be one time, because they say I do something that gets on my nerves. But I do go out, even at my age. So it's the kind of thing, it's just all in your presentation. It's all about how you present yourself to the guy and how you make him feel about himself when you're talking to him. Those are your key things to keep in mind. Now, say you get his attention and you guys are talking and you really do want to date him. He's talking to you, you flirted your hardest. What do you do after that? How do you get it to the next level? Well, sometimes no matter how hard you flirt or how interested you are, if it's not mutual, it ain't gonna happen. Most guys, if you talk to them at that point, after about 10 minutes or so, you want to say that it was nice, meeting you, And usually, right at that point, you say, I really, have to go and circulate. I'm here with my friends. I'm being a little bit rude. Uh, but it was, I really enjoyed talking to you. And you give him that smile, right? Okay, now, this is when he is supposed to say, whip out his cell phone and say, wait, let me get your number. If he's stupid, he's not going to do that. Or if he's otherwise engaged with some other woman, he's not going to do that. Or if he's really not interested in you, taking it any further, he's not going to do that. So those are the three things. You can't expect every single guy to want to pick up on that. But I'm telling you, the more that you do this, you increase your odds. The more mud you throw against the wall, the more likely some of it is to stick. So you're going to flirt, and you're going to flirt with, the guys who catch your eye, and then you find out more about them. It may turn into something, it may not. But at least you'll be getting out the house, and you'll be meeting some interesting, fun men and have some nice exchanges to tell me about, okay? So then, at that point though, you would exit gracefully and just move on to something else. Now, and like I said, you don't want to stick around to do more than about 10 minutes in this type of setting. And even that's kind of a long time. I'm usually like 3 to 5 minutes and then I'm out. They know if they want to talk to you again before that, especially, the conversation's full of laughter. You know how I am. I'm gonna say all kind of crazy shit. So I always had the guys rolling. And that's when they usually be like, wait, you funny as hell. Let me get your number. That kind of thing. And then so it just moves on from there. But if your flirtation works out, he does ask for your number, or you guys are on your next date, and like the next time you see him, then you up the ante. Now you move on to level 3 flirting, which is actual physical contact. Now, does that mean you be grabbing the man no, you don't do all that. You have to kind of be cautious because not everybody is comfortable with being touched. So there are certain ways that you can touch him that definitely do not signal sexual thoughts of any kind, and that just shows that you just want to be a little bit closer to him physically. One of the ways that you can do that is like if he has on some suit or a cloth sweater or something along those lines, you can pick the little lint ball off of it or something, something like that. Or you talking to him, right, and you're trying to make some points, and so you all animated in the conversation, so you reach out and you lay your hand on his arm just briefly, to emphasize your point. Or if you laughing, he made some crack and you just ha ha, and then when you ha ha, you lay your hand on his shoulder or you lay your hand on his arm, right? And then you pull it back off. Okay, but the touching has already occurred, and that's level 3 flirting. You leaning in close, right? He can feel your warm breath on his face or whatever. He can smell your perfume. He, gets a different view of your body. I mean, it's very subtle, very ladylike, very gracious, but it's still getting his mind where you want it to be. Okay, now let's talk about the areas that are safe to touch. The 3 areas of the body that are, the kind of universally safe areas to touch even on a first date would be the shoulder, the back near the waist area, not like way up on the shoulder blades or something like that, unless you guys are like way at the same height or something maybe. But usually, generally, like mid back is a safe area, and then for guys on the the forearm, that's a good area. Okay, then if you guys are have spent more time together, you're a little bit more, you're a little closer. Maybe it's your second date, or you feeling really close to him at the end of the first date, whatever. Then you can up the ante there, and then you touch things like the hand. So you could hold his hand, rub your hand with his or something. The face or the head, touching somebody's cheek, stroking their hair. Just very brief touches, these kind of things. Those are the level 3 touches where you up the ante, and those I would recommend. Maybe like a second date or something like that, because you don't want to rush things, and you want to make sure that you guys are kind of on the same page and feeling the same way about each other. But that's one way to do it, and that also brings him around and helps him pay more attention to what you're talking about. So what kind of things do you not do? Let's talk about the guidelines for flirting. I think the number one thing to remember is to remember that flirting is subtle. Don't be saying stupid shit or acting crazy that just signals, sex, 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 sex. I mean, you want to avoid that. I mean, unless that's your man or something, you know what I mean? If we already know what's gonna happen when you get home, well, that's different, and you can be as whatever as you want to then. But we're talking about early dating here, and the ladies that wanted this information are talking about, how do they flirt and get a male's attention. So I'm trying to kind of keep it angled to that, the level 1 and 2, and move to level 3, not what happens, 4, 5, and 6 when y'all going home together, been married or whatever. That's different. Now, this one woman I saw, I've observed women rather in these situations, like they sucking on ice cubes, right? Pulling the ice cube out, licking it, sucking the ice, and just looking at this man dead in the eye. Okay, the guys don't know you. Why are you doing all that? You doing too much. And, they just trying to just make they were just doing too much and just being just too sexual with men they didn't know. One woman had this, what you call it, the hot dog on a stick corn dog thing. She licking the mustard all over the corn dog, and and then she's sucking on the head of the corn dog. And I'm watching her do this, and all the dudes, of course, were watching her do it too. And I'm thinking, oh my God, that's just trashy. I mean, really, in public with everybody, kids there and everything. You don't need to do all that. That's not flirting. I don't know what to call that, but it was just really disgusting to see. So you want to avoid doing anything like that. I think in an environment where it's a club, party or something, make sure that the person that you're flirting with actually is there alone. That is important. You want to avoid flirting with some man who's there with a woman. You don't want to be trying to, you just watch who you flirt with. Okay, just make sure the coast is clear before you just start jumping out there, because it makes you look kind of trifling, and then you could really hurt somebody's feelings or start some mess, where you end up having to fight your way out the event, because some women get crazy when it's about their man, you know what I mean? They just lose it. So you want to be careful about that. Just kind of keep an eye out, make sure that he really is there, with alone or with a male friend or something like that, that he's not there with some woman. You also want to make sure that you don't flirt to make somebody that you're with jealous. Okay, you came there with the dude, then you're supposed to be leaving with the dude unless you guys have a big falling out. Don't disrespect him like that by flirting with somebody else. Don't do that. That's not cool. And the last thing is, I think that it's really like focus on flirting with the persons that you are at least moderately interested in. Don't just flirt around just to be flirting, just to do it. Flirt with the men that you can, when you make your comments, you're being authentic. You want to flirt with the guy whose attention you're really trying to get. It's very important, because when you're in an environment, especially a little small thing, the dudes are watching you. They're watching, and they're going to be paying attention to what you do and how you do it and who you do it with. If you flirt with 20 different dudes, well, none of them are going to take you seriously, especially the one that you really want to get with. And even if he does talk to you, he's just going to see it as possibly being a problem, like you're not really down about him, you was just doing whatever, and then he just happened to respond. That's not going to make him feel very special. Remember, I said that at the top of the video. It makes the man feel special, masculine, and important. So these are just a few guidelines. I'm sure there's some more if I really put my mind to it. But those are the basics on how to flirt. Take these this information, and make it your own. Put your own spin on it, and like I said, the number one thing though is to practice your gazes in the mirror as best you can, and you want to be able to communicate interest, excitement, a little sultriness, fascination, a bunch of different things with your eyes and with your smile. And once you got that down, the world will be your oyster. I'll talk to you guys soon. Deb Cooper from Surviving Dating, signing out.